Now we are on Act 1, Scene 4. And we have just seen Juliet in her chamber with the nurse. And now we're at the evening of the party. And it's a busy street, and people are walking through the streets with torches to light their way to the ball. Romeo and his buddies Benvolio, and we're also going to be introduced to Mercutio here. So I'll add Mercutio to our character map. Mercutio is also related to Prince, but Mercutio is a friend of Romeo's, so they're going to be walking through the streets on their way to the party. They have masks on because they can't be recognized. They don't want to be recognized as Montagues going to the Capulet party. But you'll notice here now there's some dialogue between them. Of course, they're boys who are going to a party, so they're going to be giving each other a hard time. But they also, Romeo shares an insight about a dream that kind of warned him of the harmful consequences that this party can have. So pay attention to that as well. A little foreshadowing from Shakespeare. Having a good time walking through the streets.
Shall his speech be spoke for our excuse, or shall we on without apology?
The date is out of such prolixity.
Okay, so basically Romeo says, should we have somebody announce our arrival? Like it was a custom, but Benvolio says, nobody does that anymore.
We'll have no Cupid hoodwinked with a scarf, bearing a Tartar's painted bow of lath, staring the ladies like a crow keeper.
So he's saying a bunch of other outdated practices now, so I kind of poking fun at Romeo for suggesting an outdated practice, much like anybody would do with their friends now.
No, without book prologue, faintly spoke after the prompter for our entrance. But let them measure us by what they will. We'll measure them a measure and be gone.
Give me a torch, I'm not for this ambling. Being but heavy, I will bear the light.
Nay, gentle Romeo, we must have you dance.
Not I, believe me. You have dancing shoes with nimble soles. I have a sword of lead so sticks me to the ground I cannot move.
You were a lover. Borrow Cupid's wings, and so were them above a common bound.
So they're giving Romeo a hard time for still being heartsick over Rosaline not returning his affection. And so Romeo uses this idea that he is heavy, but he will still bear the light. There's these contrasting terms here. His shoes, he says his friends have the dancing shoes. He has a soul of lead, so he will not be able to dance because he is so heartbroken.
And to sword him pierce it with his shaft, to soar with his light feathers, and so bound I cannot bound a pitch above dull woe. Under love's heavy burden do I sink.
And to sink in it should you burden love. Too great oppression for a tender thing.
Is love a tender thing? It is too rough, too rude, too boisterous, and it pricks like a thorn.
If love be rough with you, be rough with love. Prick love for pricking, and you beat love down. Give me a case to put my visage in. A visor for a visor. What care I, what curious eye, doth quote deformities? Here are the beetle brows shall blush for me.
Come, knock and enter. And no sooner in, but every man be taken to his legs.
A torch for me, let wantons light of heart tickle the senseless rushes with their heels. For I am proverb with a grandsire phrase, I'll be a candle holder and look on. The game was ne'er so fair and I am done.
Oh, tut, done's the mouse, the constable's own word. If thou art done, we'll draw thee from the mire of this Sir Reverence love, wherein thou stickest up to the ears. Come, we burn daylight home.
Nay, that's not so.
I mean, sir, in delay, we waste our lights in vain, like lamps by day. Take our good meaning, for our judgment sits 5 times in that, ere once in our 5 wits.
And we be...
Okay, so Mercutio obviously is trying to get Romeo out of his slump, and these phrases like "duns the mouse," these are common phrases of Elizabethan England, like we would say, get on with it, or any other kinds of colloquialisms that we would have for our time.
Well, in going to this mass, but 'tis no whit to go.
Why, may one ask?
I dreamt a dream tonight.
So did I.
Well, what was
The
yours?
dreamers often lie.
In bed, asleep, while they do dream things true.
Okay, so Romeo is starting to introduce the idea that he had a dream, and that he he's not really happy about it. And Mercutio, again, being a buddy, is giving him a hard time. So this coming up speech here is actually a pretty famous speech from Mercutio called the Queen Mab speech. And Queen Mab was kind of a queen of the fairies and a character that would be well known to people that were watching this play in Shakespeare's time. So there's very, very descriptive language here, and he has a lot of puns and satires about people and kind of inside jokes that people would pick up on. So we're not going to really break down the speech. It's a very famous speech, but notice kind of the poetic and sing-songy type of language that Mercutio uses as he's giving the speech. He's very eloquent, Mercutio.
Then I see Queen Mab have been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies over men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spokes made of long spinner's legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, her traces of the smallest spider web, her collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her wagoner, a small grey-coated gnat, not half so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner's squirrel or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers, and in this state she gallops, night by night, through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Or courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, or lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, or ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out his suit. And sometimes comes she with a tied pig's tail, tickling the parson's nose as he lies asleep. Then he dreams of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting the foreign throats, of breeches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of healths 5 fathom deep, and then, anon, drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf-locks in foul, sluttish hairs, which once untangled, much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she.
Peace! Peace!
Romeo's basically telling him to shut up.
Thou talk'st of nothing.
True, I talk of dreams, which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy, which is as thin of substance as the air, and more inconstant than the wind, who woos even now the frozen bosom of the north, and being angered, puffs away from thence, turning his side to the dew-dropping south.
This wind you talk of blows us from ourselves. Supper is done, and we shall come too late.
I fear too early. For my mind misgives some consequence, yet hanging in the stars shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed in my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death.
All right, this is an important note from Romeo here, because after Mercutio gives him a hard time for listening to dreams, and he says dreams are, this is a line, which are children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy. So basically, don't listen to any dreams that you have. But Romeo says, I fear too early, for my mind misgives some consequence, and hanging in the stars shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed in my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death. So he does understand, or he fears, and the dream kind of reinforces fear that this evening is going to lead to some bad things.
But he that hath the steerage of my course, direct my sail. On thus the gentlemen.
But they head on to the party as happy young men, ready to party. So, and that's the end of this scene, scene 4, and what I'm going to have you do for class time is basically Mercutio in his Queen Mab speech is describing how dreams get created and where dreams come from. So I want you to write a brief description of where you think dreams would come from, or where dreams come from, in a creative way, not just something that not just a side effect of the brain, but something creative. Think of like a children's book. What would you tell a kid where dreams come from? And that's what we'll do for tomorrow. Okay, now we are going to go into the final scene of Act 1, where it'll finally be the party at the Capulet's house. And if you remember at the end of Scene 4, Romeo and his buddies were wearing masks to hide the fact that they are Montagues as they are on their way to the party. So, and Romeo and Juliet are going to finally meet at this party.
Where's Pop Pan that he helps not to take away? He's shifted trencher, he's scraper trencher.
So, and at the beginning of the scene here in the Capulet house, obviously the serving people are scrambling to get things prepared. So what we're going to pay attention to is when Romeo sees Juliet, and the concept of love at first sight. So, but now Tybalt, who is, if you remember, the fiery cousin of Juliet, who starts that rumble in the streets earlier, he's going to recognize Romeo, and there's going to be a little bit of a scuffle as well. But we'll see how they behave once Juliet realizes who Romeo truly is.
Good man, shall I hold one or two men's hands in there and wash through till it's a foul thing?
Away with the joint stools, remove the cork, come and look to the plate!
Good thou, save me a piece of marchpane, and as thou loves me, let the porter let in Susan Grindstone and Nell.
Antonia Pop Pan!
Boy, ready.
You are looked for and called for, asked for and sought for in the great chamber!
Oh, we cannot be here and there too. Chilly boys, be brisk a while, and the longer live will take all.
So, and obviously this would be a little bit of comedic relief as well, which is always used to kind of lighten up the mood in these tragic plays.
Welcome, gentlemen. Ladies that have their toes unplagued with corns will walk about with you. My mistresses, which of you all will now deny to dance? She that makes dainty, she elsewhere hath corns. Have I come near now? Welcome, gentlemen. I have seen the day that I have worn a visor and could tell a whispering tale in a fair lady's ear. Such as would please. 'Tis gone, 'tis gone, 'tis gone. You are welcome, gentlemen. Come, musicians, play.
Getting the party started like a good hope.
And foot it, girls. More light, you knaves, and turn the tables up. And quench the fire, the room is grown too hot. Oh, see that? This unlooked for sport comes well. They sit, good cousin Capulet. For you and I are past our dancing days. How long is now since last yourself and I were in a mask?
My lady, 30 years.
What, man? 'Tis not so much, 'tis not so much. 'Tis since the nuptial of Lucentio. Pentecost as quickly as it will, some 25 years, and then we must.
Alright, so Capulet sits down with an old cousin of his, and they start discussing, the old times and when they used to dance, and how long it's been since they've been at a masked dance. But if you think about it, if you think about who the audience would be watching during all of this, you'll see Romeo kind of walking through the hall of the dancers, and you'll see Juliet on the other side, and right down here is where Romeo is going to notice Juliet for the first time.
'Tis more, 'tis more. His son is elder, sir. His son is 30.
Will you tell me that? His son was but a ward 2 years ago.
So obviously they're talking about how fast time has gone, and now Romeo sees Juliet.
Oh, what lady's that which doth enrich the hand of yonder knight?
I know not, sir.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright.
She doth teach the torches to burn bright. He is infatuated with just the sight of Juliet.
It seems she hangs upon the cheek of the night as a rich jewel and an Ethiop's ear, beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So shows a snowy dove trooping with crows, as yonder lady her fellow shows. The measure done, I'll watch her place of stand, and touching hers, make blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now, forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night.
So, and here's the poetic ending to Romeo's first sight stanza here. But notice how he describes her beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So it is, it's too beautiful too precious for the world. And if you notice down here, touching her will make his rude hand blessed. And he asked the question, did my heart love till now? We know that he was infatuated with Rosalind before, and now he is head over heels. He said, for I never saw true beauty till this night. But now Tybalt is actually going to recognize Romeo's voice behind his mask.
Fetch my rapier, boy. There's the slave come hither, covered with antic face, to fear and scorn at our solemnity.
So he is asking, fetch me my rapier, boys, let's get his sword.
Now by the stone and honor of my kin, to strike him dead, I hold it not a sin.
Well, kinsman, wherefore storm you so?
Uncle, this Sir Montague, our foe, a villain that has hither come in spite, to scorn at our solemnity this night.
You Romeo, is it?
'Tis he, that villain Romeo.
Contain thee, gentle cause. Let him alone. Bears him like a portly gentleman, and to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and well-governed youth.
So Capulet actually tames down Tybalt and says, calm yourself. He's actually not that bad. He's not here to fight. He looks like he's well behaved.
I would not for the wealth of all this town here in my house do him disparagement. Therefore be patient. Take no note of him. It is
Ignore
my
him.
will, which if thou respect, show a fair presence and put off these frowns. An ill-beseeming semblance for a feast.
It fits when such a villain is a guest. I'll not endure him.
He shall be endured. What, goodman boy? I say he shall go too. The master here, or you go too. You'll
Capulet
not
reinforces
endure
his
him.
authority.
You'll make a mutiny among my guests. You'll set cock-a-hoop. You'll be the man.
Uncle, 'tis a shame.
So go to you, and saucy boy. Is so indeed. This trick may chance to scathe you. I know what. You must contrary me. Marriage is well said, my hearts.
So, and you'll notice this line right here, well said, my hearts. He's chewing out Tybalt here as because Tybalt is not really agreeing with him. And he says, go, ignore, I'm the boss. You are a saucy boy. He's being very stubborn. But then this well said, my hearts, he heard his guests and he responded to them. So he's still being a good host as he's lighting into Tybalt.
Go. Be quiet. More light. More light. Shame I'll make you quiet. What? Chilly my heart.
So you can hear him go back and forth.
Patience perforce with willful colour beating makes my flesh tremble in their indifferent greeting. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, now seeming sweet, convert to bitterest gall.
So Tybalt says that his time will come. Now Romeo walks up to Juliet.
I profane my unworthy stand, this holy shrine. The gentle sin is this, my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready stand, to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which manly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palm's kiss.
Have not saints lips, and holy palms too?
Ay, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer.
Oh, then, dear saint, let lips do what
Sinners do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
They move not, while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips by thine, my sin is purged.
So they kissed.
And have my lips the sin that they took.
Sin from my lips? Oh, trespass sweetly urged, give me my sin again.
And kiss again.
You kiss by the book.
Madam, your mother craves a word with you.
Oh,
What is it, love?
Married bachelor, her mother is a lady of the house, and a good lady, and a wise and virtuous. I nursed her daughter that you talked withal. I tell you, he that can lay hold of her shall have the chills.
So the nurse tells them that that her mom is Lady Capulet. So now Romeo is going to have a little difficult time hearing this, because Capulets are obviously his enemy.
Is she a Capulet? Oh, dear account, my life is my foe's debt.
Away, begone, the sport is at the best.
Aye, so I fear. The more is my unrest.
Hey, gentlemen, prepare not to be gone. We have a trifling foolish banquet towards. Oh, indeed so. Oh, why then, I thank you all. I thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. More torches here. Come on, then. Let's to bed. Sinner by my fay, it waxes late. I'll to my rest.
So he doesn't want Capulet doesn't want people to leave, but then somebody whispers in his ear here, and he says, "Is it even so? Why then, I thank you all. I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night." So he does realize that it's late, and now the party is over, and Juliet and the nurse are left to discuss what just happened.
come hither, nurse. What is yon gentleman?
The son and heir of old Tiberius.
What's he that now is going out of door?
Very that, I think, the young Patricia.
What's he that follows there that would not dance?
I know not.
Go ask his name. If he be Mariette, my grave is like to be my wedding bed.
His name
So she says, Juliet says, she's asking for different names of different people as they're leaving the party, and she asked the nurse to get the name of Romeo, and she says if he's taken, she might as well be dead.
is Romeo, and a Montague, the only son of your great enemy.
My only love sprung from my only hate. Too early seen unknown, and known too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me that I must love a loathed enemy.
What's this? What's this?
A rhyme I learnt even now of one I danced withal.
Juliet!
Anon. Come, let's away. The strangers are all gone.
Okay, so they now realize it's love at first sight for both of them, and yet they also realize that they are from feuding families. And Juliet's line here is going to be one that you're going to want to remember. My only love sprung from my only hate. And we will talk more about their first interaction and the two kisses in class.